There's been some big updates on Instagram, and there always is updates flying around, and you'll see that I share an updates post every single week to keep you in the loop so you don't have to be worrying about what's going on. I'll give you the rundown every single week, and you'll see that piece of content come up on a Tuesday evening usually. There's been a lot of updates aesthetically, but right now I am not here to talk about these things. I am here to talk about the deeper stuff. The things that are really going to change the game for your business once you have got your head around them. And don't worry, they're not overly complicated. They may even be things that you are doing already, but you just need to strengthen the way that you are doing them. The algorithm has had some big shifts. The way that put my teeth back in. I'm gonna have a drink. Sorry about that. The way our content is distributed has changed, and now Google has come into play, which is so exciting. The algorithm is now an AI system that is a prediction engine. So it's no longer dependent on who follows who. The AI algorithm, Big Al as I like to call him, he evaluates each user, each profile, each piece of content to refine its predictions. It can detect what mood a person is in based on the content that they are stopping and looking at, the speed of the speed that they are scrolling, the kind of things that they are liking, and it can instantly detect what mood you're in, what it's going to suggest to you next to keep you on the app for longer. It will also look at the other things that you have been searching for online. So you may have thought, how can Facebook or how can Instagram read my mind when, I wasn't even searching for that on Facebook or Instagram? And they all kind of work together to show us the things that it thinks that we are going to be interested in looking at. The goal of social media is to keep you on the app for as long as possible. So that's why this AI algorithm has come into play, why it is screening these pieces of content in order for it to give the best possible predictions. Because when it can give the best possible predictions, then what it can do is it will keep us engaged on the app for as long as possible. What does this mean though for small business owners? It means that if your content isn't being understood by the AI algorithm, your content will be lost. It will be disregarded. It won't be suggested to others. So that is why I am here delivering this information to you, because I don't want that to happen to you. I want every small business to succeed, and that is why I am so passionate about giving you the right information so that you are not wasting your time and your efforts and your energy creating content for it to be unseen. So how can you make sure that your content is being understood by this AI algorithm and make sure that it is suggested to the right people? Because ultimately this AI algorithm is like the middleman. So we post the piece of content, the AI algorithm checks the piece of content, it puts it almost like, how do we put it? It decides, who that's for, what the topic is all about, who would like that piece of content, and it matches us with those people. So it's just like the middleman. So we don't need to think of it as anything scary, anything we need to beat or anything like that. We just need to think of it as the middleman. So we need our content to be read by this AI algorithm in order for it to be shown to the right people. So those 3 questions that I was on about at the start of the first video, that is what I'm going to talk you through now. So these might be things that you want to write down or make a mental note of. So these 3 things are the main things that the algorithm is going to be looking for when you share a piece of content, and also looking for within your profile, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a second. So question number 1 is, what is this about? So the way in which that we can signal what our piece of content is about is by being really clear. So using clear, keyword-rich language. So I don't mean like hammering the bottom of your caption with a load of keywords. You should be naturally using keywords throughout your content anyway, because you should be talking about specific topics that connect you with your ideal clients. So the algorithm needs to know straight away, what is this about? So your language needs to be super clear. People don't generally come on social media to read super complex things anyway, so we should be using clear language that they find easy to absorb. So question number 1, what is this piece of content about? Question number 2 is, who is it for? So the more obvious that you make your content, the more obvious you make it that who you are trying to reach, the more likely it is that the algorithm's going to know, all right, she's trying to reach this person, so I'm going to show her content to this person because this person is probably going to be interested in it. So just through probably seeing my content, and this will scream out to you now. In my content, I use the word Instagram a lot. I use the word content a lot. I use the word small business owner, females in business a lot. What do you think that these key words or key terms, what signals are they giving off to the algorithm? They are giving off the signals that she wants to be speaking to small business owners. She wants to be talking to females in business who are interested in Instagram and creating content and growing their businesses. So think about what keywords you can insert into your content that are going to give those signals really, really clearly. And you're probably overthinking this, and you're probably overcomplicating your content already. Honestly, you can be doing things in the most simple way and be getting super effective results. I've had a couple of clients recently who have blown up overnight, and it's because they are leaning into these rules. They are really, really being super clear about who they want to reach. They are being totally unapologetic about sharing content that is only for their people. If you don't know who your ideal client is yet, make sure that you create yourself an ideal client profile, and every single piece of content that you write needs to be aimed at that specific person. When we post for everybody, we post for nobody. It doesn't land with anybody. It doesn't make anyone feel anything, and therefore it won't get the reaction that you want it to get. Question number 3, before I get too sidetracked, is this account consistent? So what the algorithm wants to know is this person posting at least every 3 days? If you aren't posting consistently, then they aren't able to rely on you, therefore they won't suggest you. So not only is it important for you to post consistently so that you stay top of mind, it's also important that you post consistently to give the algorithm the right signals. So what we're doing is we're training the algorithm to know we share content about this. We are trying to reach this person and we are consistent. Therefore, you can rely on me to suggest me to that person because I'm going to share more content that they're going to like. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if it does, because I would love to know if that explanation has cleared things up for you. So that 3-day consistency rule trains the algorithm. It's going to help you to stay top of mind. It's a little bit like if we imagine that we went to a coffee shop and the service was inconsistent. You know, it might be convenient to go there, it's local, sometimes it's great, but other times it can be actually really, really rubbish. They keep you waiting for ages, sometimes they've not got your order right. If that was the case, we probably wouldn't recommend that place. We wouldn't suggest it to others. So why would Instagram suggest users to its other users who aren't consistent, who it can't rely on? It just wouldn't. So that makes sense, especially makes sense to me. So these changes, they're actually really, really great because you have a higher chance of being suggested to new people if you follow these 3 rules. So because now there is so much more suggested content out there, you've probably noticed it on your feed, this is great for you because you're being suggested too, or there is a higher chance of you being suggested, especially if you follow these rules. Just to reiterate, it is so important that you know exactly who you are talking to, because if you don't, then your content will be vague. As I said before, it won't make people feel something, and humans move based on emotion. They take action based on an emotion that they are feeling. So you need to know who you're trying to reach, because you need to know how you're going to make that person feel something. So if you haven't yet created a dream client profile, you can literally just put pen to paper and ask yourself a load of questions about who the person is that you're trying to reach. It might be a person who you already work with, who already buys from you, who already takes advantage of your service. Write down all the information that you know about them. And I'm not just talking about boring stuff either. Write down their mindset. Write down what they get up to. I'm not talking about just age, gender, and location. Write down everything, all the details, what problems they have, what they're Googling at 2 a.m. to try and solve those problems. Okay, and all of these things that you write down, their likes, their dislikes, what lights them up, what their goals are, what you can help them with. Writing all of that down will give you so many content ideas and will help you to not only follow those 3 rules, but actually help you to reach the right people and actually make them take action based on what you are saying. So Instagram wants from us, it wants 1 clear topic per post. I'm going to talk a little bit more about different topics soon. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that one just yet, but 1 clear topic per post. Saves are the strongest signal to the algorithm at the moment. So if your post is savable, that is giving in a signal to the algorithm that this is a really strong piece of content. Shares are the next strongest signal to the algorithm. So if you are sharing, if your content is shareable, if it is being shared to someone's story or someone's sending it to a friend or they're using that little repost button, that means that they really like that piece of content, because we're not going to share something unless we really believe in it, unless we really think that is a decent piece of content. And the reason that they also like shares is because it draws more people to the app. So if you're sharing something to someone's DMs, they get a little notification saying they've got a DM, they come and see what you're all about. And we know what we're like. We don't just look at one message, do we? We have to check everything else as well. We're on the app. Goes back to that goal of spending as much time as possible on the app. That's what they want from their users. Also, shares are strong because if someone shares something to their story, again, it's giving more content to the other users to actually look at, to actually watch. And the 3rd strongest signal is watch time. So I could be absolutely penalised for sharing 3 20-minute reels for my watch time if you guys do not watch these. That's not a threat, just saying that it could happen. So what they want is they want content that people are watching until the end. So whether that's a reel or it could be a carousel post that people scroll through, they want to see that people are scrolling through to the end of that piece of content. So if it is a carousel post, how can you say what you're saying in as little words as possible? Because that is going to help people to scroll to the end because there's less for them to consume. If you are sharing a reel, how can you make them stay until the end? You can give them signals throughout that there is something cool coming at the end that they're going to want to see. You'll see there's little signals on reels. Watch to the end. Wait till you see what's at the end. Those little things are cool because they're going to help you to get your followers to watch until the end of your piece of content. Also, what you'll find is that when you are creating your reels, your hooks really do matter because they're going to be the thing that stop people from scrolling and actually want to consume your piece of content. The Instagram wants us to be sharing the same vibes, the same themes, repeated. Do not be scared of repeating yourself. People need that message repeating over and over and over again. And when we do repeat the same message, fair enough, in slightly different ways, we become the go-to person for that thing. Something that we offer, an area that we're an expert in. We can become the reliable one that others recommend, that the algorithm recommends, because it knows that that is our thing. We're not deviating from that thing. So don't worry about being repetitive. Remember that not everyone will see that piece of content the first time around anyway. So you can repeat it in a slightly different way. And remember that we're getting new followers all the time. So those new people, they probably won't have seen that piece of content either. And even if someone has seen it, they need it reinforcing, they need it repeating so that they get the message. Simple wording. So this is where I see a lot of people, they trip up with this one. So a lot of us have been doing what we're doing for a little while, and it means that actually we assume that people know what we are already on about. Oh, I don't need to make it that simple because they already know, they're my followers. No, don't assume that people know what you are talking about. Really simplify things for people. Use their language as opposed to your expert language. So you want to come and meet them where they're at. If we use our expert language, sometimes we can make people feel silly. We can make people feel stupid, like they should know something. However, when we meet them where they're at and we're using their language, their terminology for how we are working, it makes them feel safer with us. It makes them feel seen and related to. We actually had this conversation earlier with the mastermind group that I run, and we were talking about how parents, for example, would look to work with maybe a parenting coach, but the parenting coach might use language that is beyond the parent. That is not the way that they are describing how they feel or what they want from a product or a service produced by a parenting coach. So how can the parenting coach, who is a super duper expert in her field, meet her audience where they're at and bring it back down to that level? How can you do this? How can you bring it back down to your audience's level? So part 2, which I think I'm going to get halfway through and then get cut off, is setup. So we're going to talk about how you're going to set up your Instagram account to align with these changes so that as many people as possible that are your people are able to find you. So you may have heard me bang on and on and on about this before, about your Instagram bio, about keywords, about being searchable and findable and seen and all of those things. But I'm going to bang on about it a little bit more because right now it is more important than ever. So you have your Instagram bio and you have 2 sections to that bio. So you have the bit that I call the bold part, and that is the bit that sits below, it's about here on the screen. It sits below the amount of posts you've done, the amount of followers you've got, and the amount of people that are following you. So you'll have this part here, this bold part, and that part is actually called your name when you go into the edit profile settings. Now you have 64 characters to utilise in that section there, and you can change it once every 2 weeks. You don't have to change it once every 2 weeks, but just as a heads up, once you set it, you can't change it again for another 2 weeks. And in that section, what we should be doing is we should be using keywords and searchable terms that our ideal clients are using to find businesses like ours. And the reason for that is because this is the strongest search signal that when someone searches for a business or a service or a product like ours, that is the bit that search button is connecting to. So this is why it's really important that we have a good think about this part and optimize it. So it should have keywords in there, and it should also have your location if applicable. So if you have a business where you are relying on location, it needs to be in that section there.